in northern Gaza is going to get dangerous. It's going to get dangerous because Hamas has literally embedded itself under people's homes, under schools, underneath hospitals, and those are all legitimate targets under international law. When Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says the UK wants Israel to win, it wants us to go after these terror targets so they can never perpetrate the massacre again. And we hope that civilians will continue heeding our warning.
My understanding of international law is that they are only targets that you can aim at as long as civilians are not in the path of those missiles and rockets.
From what you are seeing, is it carrying out that operation within international law?
Well, I'm deeply disturbed by the scale of civilian casualties, particularly the number of children and the stark warning from the United Nations we've seen today. I acknowledge that for Israel, this is fiendishly difficult because you've got Hamas that embeds itself in civilian populations, uses buildings like schools and hospitals as bunkers to hide within. That's really difficult.
Is it within international law?
I would urge Israel, the Labour Party would urge Israel to remain within international law. When you see,
is it?
Well, look, I think to be honest, we're going to have to see as the facts emerge and evolve.
Hang on, the UN says it's breaking international law. Amnesty says it's breaking international law. The Red Cross says it's breaking international law.
Well, and Israel needs to act within international law, but any
organisations saying it's already breaking it.
Accusations where Israel is accused of breaking international law need to be properly investigated. And I think particularly when it comes to accusations, for example, of the use of white phosphorus, that is prohibited under international law. When it comes to specific targets, schools, hospitals, they are protected under international law. The complication in international law comes in when Hamas are using those buildings as facilities to launch attacks.
Israel's argument gets even weaker if we look at the damage done to Gaza as a whole. So according to the UN, a third of all buildings in northern Gaza have been destroyed or damaged by Israeli bombardment. Now you have to ask, does Israel really think that 1 in every 3 buildings is a center of Hamas operations placed specifically there to avoid being bombed? They're using all of those buildings, all of those civilians in them as human shields. Even if they were, does Israel really have persuasive evidence that 1 in every 3 buildings is shielding a military target so impressive, so powerful, that it justifies the destruction of countless civilian infrastructure and lives? Blocks of flats. The reason 10,000 people have died so far in Gaza is because they are bombing all of these civilian infrastructure. Blocks of flats, schools, hospitals, everything is getting bombed, right? And if they can't show that they were specifically using those civilians as human shields and that it was proportionate, then it's a war crime, right? Maybe Wes Streeting should look this stuff up. We can also look at specific claims that Israel has made about particular buildings. To give one example, the IDF published this video earlier this week.
Look at this picture. What do you see? At first glance, you might think this is a school or a hospital, but Hamas sees this as a legitimate place to store weapons such as rockets.
Now, in that clip, you saw this. The IDF says that this opening here is a tunnel used by Hamas to store weapons located in the grounds of the Qatari hospital in Gaza City. The video is clearly being used to justify a possible future attack on the hospital or other hospitals for that matter. There is, however, no evidence. The image shows what Israel says it does, and an Al Jazeera digital investigation has now cast doubt on Israel's claims.
Enter Al Jazeera's digital investigations team, Sanad. It decided to take a closer look at the video behind this latest Israeli allegation. It started by identifying features surrounding this opening and cross-referencing those features with satellite images to determine its exact location. The team also uncovered footage filmed during the construction of the hospital, published 8 years ago. One of the clips reveals the construction of an underground, isolated, and enclosed structure in the exact location of the opening in question. The video makes plain that the construction Israel alleges to be a Hamas tunnel took place while the hospital complex was being built. According to the images in this archival video, this structure is not only not connected to any underground tunnel system, but after further analysis, our digital investigations team found that this structure is nothing more than a water reservoir. To further verify its finding, The team tracked down one of the original engineers who worked on the construction of the Qatari hospital.
عملت لشهور في مشروع إنشاء المستشفى الشيخ حمد للأطراف الصناعية. جيش الاحتلال عرض في الجهة الشرقية من المستشفى فوهة خرسانية، كان عبارة عن فوهة لخزان مياه تحت الأرض، يطل منه فوق سطح الأرض فوهة خرسانية وغطاء معدني وأنبوب للتهوية الذي يستخدم لإخراج وتصريف الهواء بعد دخول المياه إلى الخزان.
By cross-referencing his diagram with the images in the video released by the Israeli army, our digital investigations team was able to clearly identify a pressure equalization pipe commonly used for water and fuel tanks or reservoirs. Its conclusion, the only thing this video confirms, is that there is a water tank on the property, not a tunnel used by Hamas fighters.